For over a year, I've been consistent in stating our policy that HPD is not ICE, not immigration officers, they're HPD officers. And I expect them to follow the law. As HPD officers, they enforce local laws, state laws. They comply with the intent of Senate Bill 4, and they follow the intent of the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And it's worked. I think it would be appropriate to pause for a moment because it doesn't get enough coverage. What occurred in LA, Chicago, New Orleans, Memphis, Minneapolis, Houstonians thank me on a regular basis. Thank you for having your officers be HPD officers and not confrontational with the federal government, Senate Bill 4, certainly ICE. Because you see, the public understands. If you get in a battle with people, even if you don't appreciate their tactics, that group of people, the federal officers, do not mind a confrontation. So the people that some of my critics and some of you would criticize, who have criticized, don't understand. Our model of success in public safety is protecting those that we state we're concerned about. It's working. And today we're here to reinforce that policy. It's been brought to my attention that at least two officers have deviated from that policy. Young officers making judgment calls that do not comply with the policy that I've consistently outlined in council and public, working with the command staff and certainly the chief. After 50+ years in the legislature, 50 to be specific, experience has shown me that there's no perfect ordinance, no perfect law. All laws. I've used the statement as chairman of criminal justice for years. Every product that government outlines can be improved. And that's why we're here today. I expect the officers to follow my policy. And the chief's going to give them a directive to that effect today. They're going to be HPD officers, compassionate. We're going to be in the community, working with all residents of Houston. I have been on patrol in late night closing of after-hour clubs. These officers do not ask people their immigration status. But when they encounter someone while they're doing their job, the law requires them to check the background, NCIC. And if there's a warrant from any other jurisdiction, they're required to contact them. That's doing their job and following the law. Let me just say, it's unfortunate that some would politicize that process. Shame on them. We should not have politics enter into something this sensitive. I've had mayors of major cities call me and say, how are y'all doing it? Fourth largest city in America. We haven't had an ICE surge because I disagree with people without being disagreeable. We follow the law. We got a Senate Bill 4 that we must comply with. Other communities do not have. Other mayors shoot the bird, talk vulgar. They plant the seeds of disruption across major cities in our nation. That's not the experience here, and it won't be the experience on my watch as long as I'm mayor. HPD is an outstanding department. Chief Diaz has put the best in his command staff. The morale's never been higher. And this, as I mentioned, it's come to my attention that 2 young officers deviated from our policy. Today, I'm going to call on the chief to let us know, let the public. It's been arrived at by working with a diverse group of stakeholders. Certainly, our city attorney, working with council members, with the undocumented community. They know what we're doing today. We're going to have accountability. We're going to have communication. We're going to have supervision for those young officers. But they will do their job. And quite frankly, this city will be safer, stronger, and we can reduce the anxiety and the scare in the undocumented community. Some of the headlines, misleading, only frighten that community. We want the undocumented community, all residents, to feel free, and they do it on domestic abuse. HPD is the friend of everyone living within the boundaries of Houston, Texas. So I'm excited to be here. We're building on our success. We're correcting some communication, accountability, and I've asked the chief to go a step further and give a directive to this department that we expect you to know our policy, follow our policy, and if you have any questions, certainly a sergeant will be standing with you to make the proper decisions. Thank you all for being here. Chief Diaz, thank you for the outstanding job you do. And I know your officers look up to you. Morale's never been higher. We've graduated 400 cadets since I took office. It's hit 2,400 patrol officers, employees, certified peace officers, the most ever in the history of the department. So Houston is getting safer. But today, I'm going to ask the chief to show how we're improving and building on a policy that has kept Houston out of turmoil. Chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to this event and this media event to report the truth, right? We're truth and fact-driven here at this office. Before I discuss today's specific topic, I want to recognize and thank the men and women of the Houston Police Department. Every day, they put themselves in challenging and sometimes dangerous situations to protect our community. They do it with professionalism, courage, and integrity. I am incredibly proud of the work our officers are doing. Thank you to their dedication. Our overall crime continues to decrease in Houston, and I'm so grateful for the trust and confidence our community places in us. Our officers are building relationships and constantly engaging with the community. In the past few months, HPD officers have attended hundreds of events and spend time with those that help us grow this community. These accomplishments are a testament not only to their individual commitment as officers, but also to the teamwork, to the training and leadership that define this department. I'm here today to address an important topic, one that we've been closely tracking, in which our contact with individuals who have administrative immigration warrants. This has received attention, and it's important we continue to inform the public on how these situations are handled. Last year, early in the year, approximately 700,000 administrative warrants were entered into the National Crime Information Center, referred to as NCIC. We worked quickly to issue instructions to officers on how to handle these situations. As officers encounter more of these warrants, we've observed instances where officers' actions went beyond the initial intent. So when this began, we as an organization within the command staff, we started tracking every single one because I foresaw that we would get to today because it's a very sensitive topic. So we monitor it. we address it. Every video of every contact is monitored and reported upon. We track it. Moving forward, we're issuing a directive to streamline the process for our officers. As I speak with you, HPD officers are receiving a directive designed to ensure consistency and clarity in every situation. Effective immediately. When an officer receives a hit for an administrative immigration warrant, a sergeant will be called to the scene to review the circumstances, confirm the facts, and verify the existence of the warrant. This ensures that any decisions made in the field are carefully reviewed and supported by a supervisor. Also, there will be a 30-minute window for federal law enforcement to respond to the scene if they choose to. This provides the opportunity to act on the warrant without pulling our officers out of the service for which they intended to work in that time period. Additionally, officers will not transport anyone solely for the purpose of an administrative warrant, an immigration warrant. Again, this ensures that our officers remain available to serve to serve the public and respond to emergencies. As with anything, we will always work to improve our processes and training for the betterment of the department and ultimately the public that we serve. We hold ourselves to a very high standard. Transparency, accountability, and continuous improvement are not just words, but rather they are principles we actively practice on a daily basis. Finally, I want to thank the mayor for his leadership, his unwavering focus on improvement, and his continued support of this department. His guidance helps us maintain the trust of the community and strengthens our ability to do our jobs well. So we have a Spanish-speaking audience here, 1, 2. So I'm going to read a summary of it in Spanish quickly. Para abordar esto con la mayor claridad posible para nuestros oficiales, ahora estamos emitiendo detalles más específicos sobre cómo manejar estas órdenes de arresto. Mientras hablo con ustedes, se está enviando una directiva a todos los oficiales del departamento. Esta directiva está diseñada para garantizar consistencia, claridad y seguridad en cada situación. Con efecto inmediato, cuando un oficial reciba una alerta o la palabra hit por un orden de administrativa de inmigración, se requiere que un sargento responda a la escena. El papel del sargento será revisar las circunstancias, confirmar los hechos y verificar las existencias del orden para asegurar que cualquier decisión tomada en el campo sea cuidadosamente revisada y respaldada por el supervisor. So, before we start questions, Mayor, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence for our men and women of the military that have lost their lives recently before we start. Thank you. Mayor?
Yes, any questions?
Any
at this
questions?
time of the chief or?
Can you break down what exactly an administrative warrant is for people who don't know?
Okay, so the administrative warrant is something that is assigned to someone who comes into the country, usually in an undocumented capacity. Some of them go into a process, they report, others do not. Some of them don't go through any kind of process. So when they don't conform to those, again, it's a federal exercise. I'm giving you a very broad understanding of it. If they don't comply, or if they've been deported 1, 2, or 3 times in the past, an immediate deportation order is assigned to that name.
So it's not really a criminal warrant. It's more like, I guess you could say, kind of a civil warrant?
It's a civil warrant, but if you don't comply with it, if you come back, you can get charged with up to 10 years in prison.
And one of the things that you mentioned, if the feds don't show up within 30 minutes, what happens then?
We release.
Okay.
We take the information down and we release immediately. So just to give you a little bit of context, last year in 2025, because that's the most information the most current information that we have, we stopped we wrote 350,000 police reports with a very small group doing amazing work. Related to ICE, approximately 220 of those in that 350,000 number. So to put you in another context, that's 0.6% for us. NCIC hits for immigration, there was approximately 220. A little over 50% of them were released on the scene. Approximately 85 persons in the entire year of the 1,100,000 contacts that this police department did in the community were turned over to immigration enforcement. Of the 85, 17 were transported to meet ICE nearby patrol stations, off the freeway, easily identifiable locations. 20 or 9% of the immigration situations were arrested and charged with other offenses, and then they were taken to the Harris County Jail, where a detainer was placed on them inside the jail. We don't do the detainers, that's done inside the jail. So that kind of gives you some context of how small a number that is for us, because our men and women are doing incredible things every single night, right? I have got the most diverse command staff in the country, the most efficient, and for each one of us up here, sometimes it's a 60 or 70 hour a week job, like the mayor, right? So we're consumed with this job. The mayor and I have been discussing this since around Thanksgiving, because we track, we see it, right? We have data, we see how we need to get better. Every department's got to improve, right? So this is just something that's normal for us. As we move forward, we have no control over the federal or state laws. Perhaps in 3 or 4 months, something else changes. So as an organization, as a team, with instructions with city legal, our legal team, the mayor, we will reconvene to make sure that what we're putting out, our information is absolutely the most positive, the most respectful, because that was my concern all along. When we're meeting these people in the street, unfortunately, the majority of them don't have driver's licenses, so we have to find out who they are. We can't let somebody go and not know who they are, because they may be wanted somewhere else for something terrible. I want to make sure they're respected, that there's decency involved in their handling, and then there is. That they're allowed to call a loved one if they can, because we have got such a variant of, variant kinds of engagement with people. We have people that call in on each other. We've had a gentleman that came up here to Travis to turn his Asian wife in. Right, that's the truth that this office has to do on a daily basis. We've had people that have flagged down a patrol officer asking for help because they're trying to self-deport and they couldn't figure out the app. So our men and women drove them to a McDonald's to get Wi-Fi, and they followed the process. And unfortunately, the circumstances are beyond our control. The good mayor cannot change it. The police department isn't in the immigration process. This is congressional, right? City council can't make those decisions. So it's tough for everybody. It's a very sensitive topic. I'll never politicize it because it's personal to me. I've got family members that have green card statuses that can't travel to see loved ones for fear of not being able to come back with their green card. That's real to me. That's real to this team, right? So we're not insensitive to what's happening in our community. I meet almost weekly with business owners, not taxpayers, because I refer to them as shareholders, right? Big restaurants, big businesses that primarily visit with the immigrant community, right? So for me, it's important that we're addressing those things with the community, that we listen, and we try to work through a difficult circumstance that is placed upon us, right? That we have to make sure that as an organization, as one cog in the wheel of city government, that we do our very best, put our very best foot forward, so that the mayor's directives don't get jaded. There's no difficulty instructions. The mayor's involved in our conversations 3 days a week. The immigration concern is a 3-day-a-week meeting for us. I have an executive chief over it and people that are monitoring it all the time. because I want to make sure that it's being treated with sensitivity and with care in everything that we do. Yes, madam?
Chief, at the start of your remarks, you talked a little bit about the number of warrants that are being put into this
Yes, ma'am.
federal system. Is that a typical number? Is that
No.
higher than average?
Yeah, I've been doing this for almost 40 years. I'm dating myself. But it's never been like that. In 2000, between 2000 and 2006, another presidential administration tried to do it. Major city chiefs, PERF, all pushed back because it stretches resources. It alienates communities. And let me be clear, this is not a Spanish-speaking issue. Asia, anybody that you can think of that came in over a visa, whether you're French, you're from Asia, it affects everybody, right? So it's not just our Spanish-speaking community that's affected. So to answer your question, it's around 700,000 now, and open source, you can look it up yourself. The Haitian community, the Venezuelan communities, and the Nicaraguan communities all have this temporary status, and they're in the throes of potentially being added to those to the same system, right? So for us, the FBI controls NCIC. They control the switch. We have to have access to it. Nothing goes into NCI unless it's signed by a judge, right? So for us, we comply with it. We make sure that we are doing the very best in caring, because the process involves, once we detain somebody, we have to care for somebody, right? We have them in our care, in our custody, right? So it's important. They're not injured, nothing has happened. I've seen a video where a lady that had been deported 2 or 3 times, a body cam footage, right? That she was pulled over on a traffic violation, no identification. Unfortunately, she had been back and forth 2 or 3 times, and the officer moved her from right on the street into an adjacent mall parking lot and was kind enough to let her daughters come and visit with her before the process began. So we have just some incredible humans wearing these uniforms, right? We're not perfect. It's an imperfect business, right? But we collectively as an organization, and I always say that are doing the Lord's work every day. We're not harming anybody. And I know one is too many for some people, and I understand it because I feel it. I break bread with people that are in the same circumstances, right? I've got people that have been here. My entire childhood, I grew up around immigrants, people that I went to middle school, elementary, middle school, high school. They were here undocumented, right? So for me, it's real, right? I'm not up here just giving you a line. It's important to me.
There are some,
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna make a comment, but I'll wait for you.
I was just gonna say, there's some immigration advocates that we've talked to. that have,
God bless you.
said There are other places that are honoring these warrants, and if you could talk a little bit about why that's something that. the
Well, you have to
administration is choosing.
consider your source. In all due respect, immigration lawyers, quite frankly, some of them are outstanding professional people. Some we know of and we investigate are taking money from immigrants when they know they can't help them. So, from my experience, chairing criminal justice and dealing with emotional issues, there are people that would like the city to be disrupted. There are people that would like chaos on my watch. We haven't lost a dollar from the state or the feds. We cannot run this city like other major cities. Chicago's lost hundreds of millions, laying off hundreds of health department. Our health department gets $98 million from the federal government for a variety of health prevention and treatment. Generally, about $1 billion from the federal government. So as mayor, I have to worry about the general health and welfare of this city. Public safety being my first and highest priority. But when I'm dealing with individuals that you quote or reference, they have one issue. I have to deal with 24 departments. The state of Texas has been our partner in public safety. DPS is helping us patrol the rodeo surroundings, trying to cut back on DWI. We need their resources on traffic enforcement. We need their helicopters, their forensics, drug task force, I could go on, just public safety. But the health department, who I work closely with because the undocumented community needs health care. Some undocumented pregnant women were concerned about coming to a health clinic. So we've gone online with WIC applications. So it's not just a law enforcement issue, it's the vitality and the success of this city. And I am constantly dealing with the impact that this emotional issue has with all the residents of the city of Houston. I'm in the Gulfton area. The chief was in the East End last night for a PIP meeting. So we have regular engagement. I go to the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce. Many of those residents are on green cards. So I understand the anxiety, the fear, and that's really, you know, I may have sounded a little upset when I was before you a moment ago, because I am. The misrepresentation of this issue and the process and the policy is harming the people that folks claim to want to help. I've been a public official for 50 years. And I mention that in that I have dealt with crisis before. I know people will inflame things. How about the report, and when the chief started seeing if we could improve the circumstances and the reporting, it was in the New York Times, picked up locally, that 5,200 people had been held by Houston, not Harris County, Houston. I knew that was crazy. I think the chief ended up saying a while ago 85. I used the number 74 for the longest. The 5,200 was all of Southeast Texas, going to Austin, Corpus Christi, Louisiana. So when someone reads that and other elected officials fan those fires, Houston's number one, it scares the hell out of people. And it's my job to deal with facts and truth. And yeah, we have 5,400 officers. Some of that 400 that we've sworn in since I've been in office are young 23-year-olds. We want to give them the support and direction to make certain that we improve our process. It's significant that they can't do anything without a sergeant, their first line of supervision. It's significant that in the directive, you will not transport people unless it's a safety issue to get somebody out of a dangerous freeway setting. So I just am so excited to have the opportunity to talk to the public today and have everyone realize we're doing things right in Houston. We're not, our funding's not under threat. We're waiting today for $60 million from Homeland Security. It's on their desk in Washington so we can have a safe FIFA. So I've got friends on council says, they wouldn't withhold it. Yeah, talk to HISD, talk to Superintendent Miles, see what Austin will do. They're bold over there. There's campaigns going on statewide. With some of them campaigning, be tougher on undocumented. We're not listening to the chatter. We're here today to be transparent and let you know this command staff and the rank and file are more concerned than the folks that are trying to be disruptors. There's no reason to go into a community and inflame things if you claim you're trying to help them. So, you know, it's working. We're moving in the right direction. We're recognized. I have national media call me and say, Mayor, how are you preventing what's happening in Chicago? Remember, that's what frightened all of us, to see the actions on the streets of other major cities. And you're just not going to witness that here, because when we can improve things, we come forward and tell you. And we've been working on it daily for months.
What did the officers do? Are they facing any disciplinary actions? You guys said they went against the policy, but could you be more specific?
Well, they didn't commit a crime, right? So one of the young men moved from a site into a nearby station, which was less than 4 miles away. right? If you're gonna hold somebody for 30 minutes, it's really hard to be in a patrol car for 30 minutes. So again, it's the compassionate component that I'm always pushing. Moving it to the Northeast Station, waiting there to get a little bit of close to coordinate with the other officer, his or her partner, to make sure it's there's restrooms, there's no jails in our stations, right? So that's just it. The one that was addressed, very quiet night, not very busy. The young man asked the supervisor, and because the immigration enforcement officer was nearby, they drove that person to the Jersey Village Police Department. And that's it. And we routinely, the ones that were listed, there's about a dozen, and it's people taking them from Hillcroft and 59 or to the Sharpstown Mall parking lot, right? Just, it's lighted, it's better lit, it's just a safety issue. We train these young people at the academy to be safe, not to get hit by a car. Every so often we get a patrol car get hit on the freeway. We don't want that by waiting in the freeway. We have to move them into a safe spot, not only for the officers, for our equipment, but for the person that we have in our care, right? So for us, it's a very sensitive topic, but we train on it and we push it out every day. Our partners in labor do a great job as well with the rank and file. So for us, it is a total effort, right? Because it's important and it's a very sensitive topic. Go ahead, Matt.
I guess kind of two questions. One,
Sure.
you mentioned the 17 number. Are those, like, does that include ICE picking people up at the scene, or is that SPD officers?
That's total, right? So 3 of them were before we even had the directive because it happened so early on in the process, right? So those are the kinds of things where we move somebody, and that's going to be in the new directive, right? If it's a safety issue, they can move somebody off the freeway. Just that simple. Again, we're not trying to harm anybody or be rough with anybody, but we will care for somebody and avoid somebody getting injured or perhaps really damaging a vehicle or the officer as well. Next, yes, sir.
Chief Diaz,
Dígame.
if you don't mind, I have 2 questions.
Go for it.
I'm gonna ask them in Spanish.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll try my very best.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think it's very important for the community.
Yeah,
that
claro,
they're
claro.
watching us right now. Usted como oficial de policía, digamos, con esta nueva directiva, si detiene a una persona por conducir a exceso de velocidad o se pasó un semáforo en alto,
Right.
lo detiene. ¿Cuál es el procedimiento si esta persona se dan cuenta las autoridades que tiene una orden de detención de ICE?
Okay.
¿Qué es lo que usted como oficial
Lo que pasa por lo normal es que esa persona no va a tener licencia de conducir, ¿verdad? Porque está en este país, de otro país, y las leyes del estado de Texas, si no estás aquí propiamente, con los propios documentos, no te van a dar licencia. So, si tú me dices un nombre, el policía, el oficial, va a tener que verificar que te llamas Jaime Sánchez, vamos a suponer. Entonces, si ya sabe esa persona que tiene el orden de arresto sobre el proceso de ellos, ya, si tú estás aquí de otro país y pasaste tu visa o cruzaste de otra manera, ya lo sabes que vas a tener un problema o quizás no llegaste a una cita con inmigración por esas veces que te van a poner en el sistema. No todos los tiempos, pero las 700 personas que están dentro del NCIC, esas son las únicas personas que nosotros tenemos el acceso, porque nosotros no tenemos acceso a la computadora federal, nada más acceso a que tienen el orden de detención. So, por ahorita, si los paran, el oficial le va a hablar a un sargento a la encena para comunicarse, el sargento va a verificar todo, para que se quite todo, que no se ponga complicado, y el sargento le va a hablar a los oficiales de inmigración y ellos van a tener 30 minutos de donde estén, porque el centro de ellos son 55, 56 condados alrededor, son muchas las veces, no llegan a tiempo, la persona esa se va a dejar ir con la información, dirección, donde viven, y esa información se les va a entregar al gobierno federal. Pero la detención los vamos a dejar ir.
Una vez que contactan a las autoridades federales, los agentes, digamos en este caso de ICE, ellos van a llegar al lugar de la detención.
Al lugar de la detención, nosotros ya no vamos a dejar que los lleven a otro lugar. Now, si acaso están sobre una carretera y hay bastante tráfico, entonces sí van a tener la discreción a moverlos a un donde hagan luces, a un parqueadero que tengan más seguridad.
En cuanto a las violaciones de dos oficiales, tengo entendido que transportaron a personas que tuvieron estas violaciones de tránsito y que tenían órdenes de detención. ¿Se están disciplinando a estas personas? ¿Cuántas y cuáles qué órdenes van a tener?
Son las dos personas, porque fueron uno temprano en el año pasado y uno en el medio, como en septiembre. Nada más se les dieron instrucciones que ya no lo hagan, ¿verdad? No, la disciplina no va a ser porque no hicieron nada contra los documentos que teníamos a ese tiempo, ¿verdad? Trataron de ayudar, no lo hicieron a lo más perfecto, pero sí trataron de ayudar a la persona. Nosotros nomás es decirles que no lo hagan otra vez. Si lo están haciendo y vemos nosotros que lo están haciendo en violación de la policía nueva, entonces sí hay procesos de Internal Affairs y entonces empieza el proceso de Internal Affairs para ese oficial si lo está haciendo mal. Go, Matt.
I think you just answered this, but were the officers disciplined?
They were consulted with, right? Because it's early on in the process. It was communicated to them what the actual policy was, because that's standard for anything, no violation of law. And then we moved forward and then didn't do it again, right? So if there was something nefarious or something that was completely against something, then a discipline process would happen, which you guys can get online and look at our discipline processes.
I
Anybody
think
else?
one of the things that you guys said was that the city of Houston is a lot safer, but critics say, hey, people are not reporting it because they're scared of immigration. They're scared
Well,
of you guys.
Thank you for bringing that up. That is an amazing question. So we track that data.
Can you talk on the mic?
Okay, yeah, so we track that, the data. So her question was that people aren't calling because of this, I don't want to use, because of everything on that they see on their social media feed, right?
Well, they see an officer in uniform and they're scared.
Right, well, guess what? We are in the uniform, everybody here is in a clear uniform. So much so that we have people that wear tactical gear. So I made an expense that all our stuff says Houston Police. We've been wearing the greens for 35 to 40 years before the immigration enforcement even considered it. Everybody that's wearing the green is going to have a marked unit with someone in a uniform at the scene. So if somebody comes up, they can say, it's a search warrant, because we still have to do the police business, right? But to give you a correct answer on the initial question about people not calling us, it's a myth. Less than 1% either way, right? So I am telling you, these young people are doing amazing. I'll give you an example. District J, almost everything's double digit less, right? Not because they're not calling, because we're in the apartment complex. I have a meeting with the apartment complex managers set up. So I visit with them. And I think one thing, I'll close with this. Much has been said about our community affairs, right? A lot of it has been said. Community affairs just changed names. They're sitting right here, right? They're in the field, and I'm going to put it to bed. They're in the field under a captain, because the captain, no one knows more than that captain, the intimacy of his district, right? So in the last 4 months, we've done 400 events, right? And these people are doing amazing work, and we track it, right? So I know that, for example, District I, we've done 18 events in that district, right? Clear Lake, we've done 4. Right, so we are focused on, one, delivering the police department to the community. We are almost in possession of $1 million mobile vehicle that will be a mobile community policing vehicle. Right, the mayor was instrumental in getting us the funding, so it will go to apartment complex all over the city, so we can engage. Because coffee with a cop, all these cool things, if your mom doesn't have a car, or your pops doesn't have a car, they can't come see us, right? So we're bringing the police department to these communities and making sure that the kids have access to us, because that's where we focus, on those junior high kids, so they they have an outlet, they're engaged with the police department, because it's a very important thing for us, important to the mayor, it's a priority, right? So, it's a 7-day-a-week job, and, I'll give you a snapshot. I've been to a mosque, Vietnamese community, I mean, it's an everyday thing, so it's incredibly, busy and incredibly important to us to make sure that we're focused, so. Community affairs didn't go away, it's 100% better, it's on steroids.
And the key to your question is, you said our critics.
Right.
Remember who some of the critics are. People running for office. People that are gonna profit from scaring the community. I travel the city regularly, quite often on my own. People want more police in their community, and that's every ethnic, sexual orientation, any faith. They call us for better protection. Certainly with the international affairs going on. People have loved ones in Iran. We have pop-up protests for and against the U.S. policy. You know their first question? Certainly no king protest. They not only won't ask, but we furnish HPD. So please be mindful that our critics, many of them getting ready for the next campaign, know that people are afraid of what they see on the national TV. Houston is a community that comes together. And we have challenges, but we're meeting our challenges, and one is to deal with the fear and anxiety of our residents. And so, yes, the critics would like to stir things up. The critics would like turmoil. People profit from it. They believe it may even help their politics. But we avoid the politics. I'm not worried about an election. I want Houston to be safe. I want the undocumented community to know HPD is their friend, and we're still getting calls. They flagged down patrolmen for assistance. So let's just continue to be diligent, do our job, and help keep Houston and make Houston safer. You got the World Cup coming up. You got the baseball. Here's an interesting one. Night before last, I was at Mexico and the U.S. playing baseball. You've never seen such collaboration and celebration of people from those two great countries. And people felt very comfortable coming to that game, which was, safety was provided by HPD. So anyway, let's go to work. Thank you.
Appreciate it.